The moment the lights of the 2026 Arirang World Tour dimmed in Tampa and the roar of tens of thousands of fans began to dissolve into the humid Florida night, an unexpected scene unfolded far from the stage. One that raises a compelling question. How did a quiet, off-duty moment between two global icons escalate into a viral phenomenon that captivated millions within minutes? What followed the concert was not another performance, nor a scheduled appearance, but a subtle shift into something far more revealing. Kim Taehyung and Kim Seokjin, widely recognized for their commanding presence on stage, were suddenly seen in an entirely different environment, an indoor pickleball court, stripped of spectacle, stripped of choreography, yet paradoxically more intense in its authenticity. The contrast alone was enough to trigger global attention. Why would two of the most scrutinized figures in modern pop culture choose such an unguarded setting immediately after a major tour performance? Observers quickly noted that this was not a staged interaction. The footage, casually shared, carried no visible production intent. Taehyung appeared seated at first, his posture relaxed, but his gaze unusually focused, tracking the movement of the ball with a level of concentration that seemed disproportionate to the casual nature of the game. That detail did not go unnoticed. It suggested something deeper than leisure, a competitive instinct, precise and controlled, emerging even in moments meant for rest. Then came the turning point. As Taehyung stepped onto the court, the tone shifted. His movements were not hesitant, nor exploratory, but deliberate. Each step, each swing of the racket, carried a rhythm that felt refined rather than improvised. The question intensified. How could someone with no widely known background in pickleball demonstrate such immediate adaptability? The answer, while not explicitly stated, seemed embedded in his physical discipline. Years of complex choreography, spatial awareness, and timing appeared to translate seamlessly into this entirely different activity. Seokjin's presence added another layer of intrigue. Positioned both as participant and observer, his reactions became a narrative anchor. At one critical moment, a single remark attributed to him, describing Taehyung's performance as that of a professional, ignited a surge of online discourse. The statement was brief, almost casual, yet its impact was disproportionate. It reframed the entire scene, transforming what could have been dismissed as a recreational activity into evidence of an unexpected skill set. The environment itself contributed to the intensity of the moment. The blue court, enclosed and starkly lit, created a visual contrast against the polished, cinematic stages typically associated with their performances. Here, there were no elaborate costumes, no synchronized formations, only instinct, reaction, and raw engagement. Taehyung's footwork, described by viewers as agile and controlled, suggested not experimentation but familiarity. His strikes carried both precision and restraint, avoiding excess force while maintaining clear intent. What made this situation particularly compelling was not merely the display of skill, but the emotional undertone embedded within it. The interaction between Taehyung and Seokjin reflected a dynamic that extended beyond professional collaboration. Their exchanges, brief glances, subtle gestures, restrained laughter, indicated a level of comfort rarely captured in highly managed public appearances. This was not performance chemistry, it was personal alignment, revealed unintentionally. The timing of this moment cannot be overlooked. Positioned immediately after a high-pressure concert within a global tour, the pickleball session functioned as a decompression space. Yet it was not passive. Instead of retreating into isolation, they engaged in an activity that demanded coordination, attention, and interaction. This choice raises a critical consideration. Does active engagement, rather than withdrawal, serve as a more effective mechanism for psychological recalibration in high-performance individuals? As the footage circulated, its impact extended beyond admiration. It began to influence behavior. Online discussions rapidly shifted from observation to imitation, with increasing numbers of viewers expressing interest in pickleball itself. The implication was clear. This was not merely about visibility, but about influence. Taehyung's involvement, however brief, had repositioned the sport within a new cultural context. Simultaneously, attention turned back to Seokjin. His role, though less physically dominant in the sequence, was no less significant. His observational stance, combined with his decisive commentary, framed the narrative in a way that amplified its reach. There was a measured confidence in how he presented the moment, neither exaggerating nor diminishing it, allowing the audience to draw its own conclusions while subtly guiding perception. Another critical detail emerged through Taehyung's subsequent engagement with the content. By resharing the moment, he effectively validated its significance without direct commentary. This action, minimal yet intentional, signaled alignment with the audience's reaction. It suggested that the experience held personal value, not merely as a fleeting activity, but as a moment worth preserving and sharing. The visual presentation of Taehyung during the session also became a focal point of analysis. Despite the informal setting, his appearance retained a level of composure and style that blurred the line between athletic activity and visual performance. This duality, effortless yet curated, reinforced his reputation for maintaining aesthetic presence regardless of context. It raised a subtle but persistent question: is this an inherent quality or a cultivated discipline refined over years of global exposure? Beyond the immediate reactions, the broader implications began to take shape. The pickleball moment in Tampa was not an isolated, but part of a larger pattern in which unscripted interactions generate stronger engagement than structured appearances. It demonstrated that visibility without overt intention can produce a deeper connection, precisely because it resists predictability. Equally significant was the sense of temporal suspension within the moment. For a brief period, the demands of the arirang World Tour, its scale, its expectations, its relentless pace, appeared to recede. In their place was a contained, almost private interaction, defined not by performance metrics, but by presence. The sound of the ball, the movement across the court, the restrained exchanges, these elements combined to create a narrative that was both minimal and profound. Yet the tension remains unresolved. Was this simply a moment of rest, or an unintentional revelation of a different dimension of identity? Taehyung's adaptability, seokjin's framing, and the audience's reaction collectively suggest that the boundaries between artist, athlete, and individual are more fluid than traditionally assumed. The pickleball court in Tampa did not just host a game, it exposed a convergence of discipline, instinct, and authenticity that continues to provoke analysis. As the arirang Tour progresses, the question lingers with increasing intensity: if such a seemingly minor moment can generate this level of global response, what other dimensions remain unseen, waiting to surface in equally unexpected ways? The aftermath of that moment continues to intensify rather than fade, raising another critical question: was this truly spontaneous or an unfiltered glimpse into a routine rarely exposed to the public? As discussions expand across global platforms, analysts begin to examine micro-details: the timing of Taehyung's reactions, the precision of his wrist control, even the calculated pauses between movements. Each element suggests a level of awareness that challenges the assumption of pure coincidence. Meanwhile, seokjin's composure throughout the session reinforces a stabilizing presence, as if the environment itself was deliberately kept controlled despite its informal appearance.